welcome to this year's Queen Nanny Festival. Before we start, of course, we would also want to give our condolences to those families who would have lost loved ones as a result of the typhoon. Jamaica mourns with you, we're all with you, and we thank you for being here today. That being said, today we're here to learn about the connection between Jamaica and Japan as it relates to Queen Nanny. To come and to give his overview of the festival. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. McAnuff.
To our distinguished guest, Mr. Vivian Crawford, ODJP, Executive Director of Jamaica Institute, Ambassador to Japan from Jamaica, H.E. Alicon. Mr. Akins Abdulkader, Minister of Politics and Economics from the Embassy of Ghana, Mr. Ratcliffe Lennox, VP, Jamaica Information Center, Mr. Wako from the Ethiopian Embassy, and to all you wonderful people, thank you for coming to the Queen Nanny launch conference today. Thank you. Three years ago, I went to Narita Airport to pick up my friend, Mr. Robert Livingston. On arriving late at the airport, the director of the TV, Channel 7 Bangomin, Yuwa Nanny Nipone, requested an interview from me. But I told him, Chotomate, because first, Saishani, I must find my friend Robert, who might be somewhere waiting in the airport. 2 hours, we waited. There was no Robert to be found. It was then the coordinator realized, because of the time difference, we had gone to the airport 1 day early. Inichi Machigata. I felt so bad. Imagine. I knew right away I had to apologize to the TV director and the crew. So I said, Siumasen, Gomenasai, I'm really sorry. Hontoni, I'm sorry. But because I wanted them to know I wasn't just talking from my lips, I wanted them to know it's coming from my heart. I think how I could impart this feeling to them. So I said, okay, I'm gonna write a song about this disappointing situation today. And the director, in a surprising voice, said to me, really? And I said, yeah. And that is how I wrote the song, Yuwa Nanny Nipone. The song Yuwa Nanny Nipone is the first vinyl to be released by Universal Music Japan. And the name, Nanny, happens to be the same as that of Jamaica's first and only female national heroine, Queen Nanny of the Maroons. Also, in relation to Japan, the same name as in sounding as the famous TV program, Yuwa Nanny Nipone, where the hit song was first aired nationally. So, being a Maroon, it's no mistake Bob Marley may say it's a natural mystic, but today I'm saying it's no mystic, it's only natural. That the concept of this Queen Nanny tour and event is to continue the legacy of Queen Nanny by playing our cultural music, reggae, and teaching the roots of the music globally to support the advancement of women and kids globally under the theme health, education, environment, and culture. What the heck? Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you, sir.
I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. On behalf of His Excellency, Mr. Frank Ochre, Ghana's ambassador to Japan, who is unable to join us here, I wish to express gratitude for the invitation extended to the Embassy of Ghana to be part of this wonderful occasion.
最初はちょっとご挨拶させていただきたくて、ガーナ大使の大使がフランク・オチュエが今日は出席できなくて大変申し訳ないんですけど、代わりに話させていただきます。で、一番最初にこういう機会を与えてくださいまして、本当に感謝です。こういうイベントの一部として参加できて嬉しく思っております。
We wish to thank His Excellency Ambassador Aliko for his immense support to this project. Similarly, we want to thank Mr. Vivian Croyford, Executive Director, Institute of Jamaica, who has traveled all the way. That shows the importance that we all attach to this project. And last but not the least, there were project coordinators who have put together to ensure that we relive the great memory of Queen Nanny in Japan and across the world. In doing so, we do not only preserve and strengthen our culture and history, but more importantly, we nurture many more Queen Nannies. It is in this light that the Embassy of Ghana joins you in this celebration of a great and courageous leader in the person of Queen Nanny of Jamaica. Queen Nanny did not only manage to free herself from brutal slavery, but selflessly protected and freed people in similar situations. Her actions changed the course of history and that of Jamaica. She dedicated her life to protect and empower the weak. Above all, demonstrated the strength of the African people and women. Indeed, her life teaches us many aspects of strategic thinking and planning abilities, and above all, her leadership skills, flawless. I believe our special guest will tell us more. But as Ghanaians, the story of Queen Nanny, a female warrior who migrated from the Asante Nation, which is today modern day Ghana, is a clear manifestation of the special courage of the Ashantis. History tells us that the Ashantis were known warriors who won many battles. As a matter of fact, after Queen Nanny, we also had a great Yaa Asantewaa, another female warrior and an influential queen mother from the same Ashanti kingdom. The great Asantewaa, as we call her, also defied the British and advanced Asante freedom, which eventually inspired subsequent nationalist call for independence. Evidently, you can see that there are similar traits and exploits of Queen Nanny, and obviously Yaa Asantewaa took after Queen Nanny. For these reasons, we hope lessons from Queen Nanny will be passed down in centuries to come through conferences such as what we are having. With your permission, I would like to share a bit of Ghana's effort towards uniting and celebrating our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, declared in September 2018 the year of return Ghana 2019 for Africa diaspora. He called for the African unification to strengthen the ties among transnational and transatlantic brothers and sisters. I am happy to know that Ghana recognizes the extraordinary achievements and contributions made by Africans in the diaspora towards human development. Accordingly, the government has rolled out a year-long program to commemorate the 400 years of the existence and sacrifices of the African diaspora. In this regard, President Akufo-Addo personally embarked on visits to many countries in the Caribbean, including Jamaica, inviting our African diaspora to visit Ghana in 2019 to mark the year of their return. As we celebrate this milestone, it is my honor to also entreat all of you to follow the year of return if you are not able to go to Ghana. It is our fervent hope and expectation that we can work together to identify our shared common areas of cooperation for development and benefit of our peoples. It is my earnest belief that through such gatherings, we can learn from the past and build more interconnected world full of new possibilities to shape the future that we all want to have. I thank you for your kind attention. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much.
I want to say thanks to Minister Abrakwa for sharing with us more information in terms of that very strong linkage between and among us. We are definitely very much intrigued as it pertains to the year of return, and certainly the connections that we share, they are deep. And that is not only within Africa, but it's Africa, it's Japan, it's right across. This year, incidentally, is the International Day of the Girl. So certainly Queen Nanny, as a symbol for women, girls, those who are marginalized, stands true, especially on this day. That being said, we'd now like to invite His Excellency Ricardo Alicock, the Ambassador of Jamaica to Japan, to also bring greetings. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Ricardo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Vivian Crawford, Executive Director of the Institute of Jamaica, distinguished colleagues for the Diplomatic Corps, our Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Rochester, organizers of this event, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. We are here today to celebrate Queen Nanny of the Maroons. And it's fitting that we should celebrate her at this moment, just a week before Jamaica celebrates National Heroes Day, with Queen Nanny being the foremost of our heroes and the only woman to be declared a national. The Maroons have a long history, which Mr. Crawford will share further with you, of resistance to control and colonization. And that history of the Maroons applies not only to Jamaica, but across our region of the Americas and the Caribbean. In fact, one other Maroon named Bookman migrated from Jamaica to Haiti and inspired Haitians who were being colonized by the French to revolt. That rebellion led to the Haitian Revolution, and that led to Haiti becoming the first country in the Western Hemisphere to gain independence from European colonizers. And that struggle was so fierce with France that Napoleon became bankrupted as a result of it. Up to then, Napoleon had a plan to use his plantations in Haiti to drive development in what is now called the United States. But with his bankruptcy and with his plans for Haiti being exploded by the revolution, Napoleon had to find ways of raising money. And so he gave up his plan of developing what is now the United States and sold the land that he had there to the government of what is now the United States. In American history, this is called the Louisiana Purchase. And that land that he sold consisted of Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, and Minnesota. Anyway, the point of this, there are many points of this, but one of them is, were it not for a little Jamaican Maroon named Bookman, they would probably be speaking French in America today. So we're speaking about Queen Nanny, and I've told you a little about another great Maroon named Bookman, but my purpose here today is to really introduce the great, true-born Maroon, living Maroon with us today, Mr. Vivian Crawford. As I invite him today, I just want you to know that this man who is coming to the podium, who came all the way from Jamaica to speak to you, is the living treasure chest of Jamaican culture more broadly, but of Maroon history and Maroon culture. Please join me in inviting Mr. Crawford to the
Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Von Roy Rochester, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, including Ambassador Ricardo Alicock of the Jamaican Embassy, and Mr. Von Roy Rochester, First Secretary, Jamaican Embassy, representatives of Ghana's Embassy to Japan, Mr. Akins Abrokwa, Minister, Ms. Akib Tanaka, Mr. Mestin Wunda Wayoka, Minister Consular Embassy Ethiopia, Mr. Dave Makarofin, Coordinator, Queen Nanny Festival, and support team, Mr. Stephen Joseph, Mr. Tani, Mr. Taki, Mr. Radcliffe Lennox of Jamaica 500 Years, VP Jamaica Information Center, Mr. Nears, from the President of Mr. Ishiro, President of Nurse Company, guests, performers, members of the media, children, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, allow me to endorse the regret offered by First Secretary of the Jamaican Embassy, Mr. Rochester. We regard Japan as family and we share your loss. May the souls of the departed rest in peace. We are meeting today partly because of words from a very outstanding Jamaican, Marcus Garvey. What he said applies to you, it applies to Jamaica. Japan, Jamaica, the world. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. What is not on the script, I am going to share with you, and most people all over the world will be hearing this for the first time. A song which came down from Nanny. The ancestors told us that Nanny sang this song about Jamaica, about Moortown, where she is buried. I will sing the song for you. I hope you have ear flaps. Motonga Fimio, Motonga Fimio, Motonga Fimio, Minago left Motongu weo. Motona Fimio, Motona Fimio, Motona Fimio, Minago left Motongu weo. Moortown is mine. I am not going to leave it. Those were her words, and come down from the ancestors, but not this part of the story, not shared to many people. So you are very privileged that I was inspired. I was inspired by the spirit of Nanny to share that with Japan because of your interest. 3 cheers for Japan. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Nanny! This is not in this. This is you know she. This is not in the script. This is not in the script, but the description that Nanny looked just like this lady. Round of applause, Nanny. Sincere thanks to the government and people of Japan, Mr. Dave McNarf, Ambassador Ricardo Alicock and staff, Mr. Stephen Joseph. Greetings from our Minister, the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Maroon communities in Jamaica, Flagstaff, Accompong, Scottsdale, Charlestown and Moortown. Japan and Jamaica share a strong bilateral relationship over 50 years, and their cultural grants 2017 strengthening the cultural grants have strengthened the government and people of Jamaica. The Ward Theatre that we have, the piano there was given by the government and people of Japan. At the Institute of Jamaica, the lecture hall and its audiovisual room, the Natural History Museum of Jamaica, which we are inviting the Prime Minister to open later this year, our Junior Center Lab, and a mobile exhibit to travel all over Jamaica with our treasures. Wow. We have had traveling exhibitions from Japan, the Spirit of Buddha and the Dolls of Japan. The story. Nanny is buried in Moortown. Her grave is there, and that's the space in Moortown where I was born. My ancestors, the Crawford, formed part of her cabinet, and members of her cabinet lived near to where she lived. The story of Nanny is one of resistance, still relevant today. Do not allow anyone to put you down, and they cannot put you down without your permission. Because of sugar, enslaved Africans were taken to the New World because they could work harder than the native Indians who were in Jamaica. When Nanny came from Africa, she said, "I will have none of it," and fled to the hills. And because she ran away, they called them the wild ones. They were wild, or maroons. So I just described what she looked like. That's our Nanny at the back. And that head tie, I'm afraid, is a wrong impression by the artist. Why did she tie her head? Going through the bushes, insects would get into the hair, and her tie head would be something like this. She folded here, tied the back. Bear with me. This is a lady's thing. And then she folded the front to keep her pipe for smoking, to keep away mosquitoes. The pipe was kept in here, and her coins. Her strategy. Next slide.
Steve, put a seat there and just...
A strategy. Oh, you need to sit here. Her strategy. Her main strategy was never to confront the enemy. So she used vines and bushes to cover themselves. And so when the British passing, the British would look and say, oh, that's a pretty tree. That's a lovely tree. And they would just catch them. Or they would dig holes, cover the holes with bushes, and then they get a string and put it in the trees and get somebody to be pulling. And so the British think they're over there and would be walking slowly along the road, not looking and just dropping the hole. And such strategy caused her to kill 600 soldiers one day. Now that space still exists called Seaman's Valley. Nanny did not know the name sailor. She knew they came from the sea, hence the name Seaman Valley. What is her legacy? Why are we here today? We are learning from what she left. So, at the peace treaty, we got 500 acres of land. And where I come from, I do not pay taxes for land. Do you pay taxes? Yes, I don't pay taxes. Pull out your cell phones. Let me see your cell phones. Pull out your cell phones. Okay, this is the first cell phone. So the horn would be blowing very far away, like at the airport. And the British thought that the people were over by the airport. But no, they were right here. And so when they got there, they were able to get after them and capture. So in 2003, I was very privileged to chair a commission where the United Nations, UNESCO, declared the music of the Moortown Maroons as part of the intangible heritage of mankind. Mount Fuji is the tangible heritage. Our maroon music is part of the intangible heritage. And this was led by a facilitator, Olive Lewin, a very outstanding Jamaican. So our music is preserved for all mankind. And then medicine. From the trees, the shrubs, we were able to get medicine. When I was a child, I did not use Panadol or Fensic. What they call it in Japan? What they call the medicine? What they call Panadol? Aspirin. I got 3 leaves from a plant and tied my head, and the pain would be gone. Jamaica is famous for jerk meat. Let me tell you the story. It came about because when the British pursued the Maroons, they had to leave their village behind and their animals. The animal, especially the pig, it would come out at night and eat their cultivation. So they had to go and catch the pig. A dog was used. So while the dog was fighting the pig, because you couldn't confront a pig, a boar would kill you with its tusk. The dog and the pig were fighting. You use a sword and stab the pig. But the meat was heavy to take back home, 3 days away. So what you did, you cook it, you jerk it over fire and that is preserving it, which now becomes a cuisine. So in closing, I want to say the past is history, the future is a mystery, but the present is a gift. That is why it is called a present. And we thank Brother Dave and his team for giving us this present of the Nanny Festival. Thank you.
Yes, another round of applause. So now we go. So now we like to invite the kids African dance. But before we do, I'm so sorry. Yes, kids reggae dance. Sorry, my apologies. Definitely we have to also just say thank you to the preserver of Jamaica's culture, heritage, and history. No wonder he holds so many distinguished titles, whether at UTEC, UE, he's also in finance. This man is just extraordinary. We're so privileged to have such a very first-hand account of Jamaica's history, especially where Queen Nanny is concerned. Thank you, sir. With that being said, we'd now like to invite.
Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be amongst such great people here this afternoon. And this afternoon I'll be doing a presentation on Jamaica 500. And I would like to start first by acknowledging Mr. Vivian Crawford to my left, the Executive Director of the Institute of Jamaica. And as you've heard, he was the most qualified person here today to speak about the Maroons. So we have been delighted by his presentation, we have been educated, and we have been stimulated and informed. Thank you very much, sir. And for His Excellency Ricardo Alcock, who was here with us earlier, for his stunning introduction of Mr. Crawford, thank you. And for Mr. Von Rochester, First Consul of the Embassy of Jamaica, who was the MC for the first half. Again, warm thank you to them. In their absence, I'd also like to acknowledge the presence earlier of Mr. Wakayo, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, who is from the Embassy of Ethiopia. And on that note, I would also like to take a moment to say a warm congratulations to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, who is this year's Nobel Peace Prize laureate. Wow. And earlier, from our ancestral roots, Mr. Akins from the Republic of Ghana. And this event would not have been realized had it not been for the vision, the efforts, and all the workings behind the scenes of Mr. Dave McAnuff and his stellar team of the Queen Nanny project, including Nanny-san, and from Jamaica, Mr. Josephs. And there are several other people who would like to recognize this afternoon, least, but not least amongst us, Mr. Fujiwara, who is from TV Tokyo, and who was the person who supported Mr. McAnuff with this project, to the best of my knowledge. Also from the people from Universal Music, Mr. Enomoto and Mr. Takamatsu. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow presenters, the performers, thank you all for being here this afternoon. I think I've already bored you with this introduction, and I hope you don't fall asleep as I continue along this afternoon. So, without further ado, let's get started. This presentation is to highlight the contribution of Queen Nanny. Who was Queen Nanny? Queen Nanny was a great and inspirational person. And throughout history, there have been many, many great leaders, many people who have been there and stood tall, and stood as giants among men when many of us needed help. Queen Nanny was one such person. She was a person who lighted the flame of freedom in the hearts of early Jamaicans. She believed that there should be equal rights, humanity, and justice for all mankind. And she did not sit and allow herself or her people to be suppressed or oppressed by the colonizers. Now, many of you may be asking, well, Africans are really big and strong, and there are legends that Africans wrestle lions barehanded. Why then were we not able to wrestle these European suppressors? But I tell you, the truth has not been told. The truth is, Africa is a wonderful continent, and there are many, many, many people of different beliefs, different cultures, and different heritage. As unique people, these tribes, they all speak different tribal languages. They have different cultural beliefs and practices. The British, the Spaniards, all the Europeans, they were very, very adept and keen on sensing this big communication issue. And therefore, one of the things they did was to use the differences in languages as one of the barriers to keep our people in bondage. Thus came the Middle Passage. The Middle Passage was one part of what is known as, does anyone know? Something about the something triangle? Keith?
The Atlantic Triangle.
Right. So, what was this? There was this Atlantic Triangle, right? Wherein started out with the Europeans sending their people to Africa, right, to trade, and they brought with them a lot of things, a lot of tricks, right? They brought their religion, they brought glittery stuff, and they conned our people, right? And they made promises, and these promises were all lies. So what they did, they enslaved our people. They forced them into slavery. And to do this effectively, they had to separate people of similar tribes. Right? Because without a common identity, you cannot communicate. And without common ability to communicate, you cannot fight these oppressors. Our people were shackled and chained, as shown in the image here. This is real chain, my people. When slaves first landed in Jamaica between 1513 and 1517, the promises that were made to them on the shores of Africa were all lies. In fact, when they landed on the plantations, the conditions become gruesomely more cruel. But many of our foreparents were not daunted. Instead, they took up the mantle. They decided to fight. Fight for freedom, fight for their rights. In trying to escape or rebel, death was a promise to those who did. But our people were not daunted. For those who were caught, many times the ones who survived, these were the scars that reminded other slaves of what would happen if they tried to escape or rebel. However, many of our foreparents, they were able to escape and moved into the islands, as Mr. Crawford alluded to earlier. And these escaped slaves were considered wild. And hence the name Maroon came about. It's actually from the Spaniards. Some of them intermarried with the native Arawak Indians, who by the time were very, very few in numbers. Another time we'll talk about how many of our Arawak descendants were brought to close extinction, but that's for another time. So fast forward a little bit. By 1655, the British invaded Jamaica and defeated the Spaniards. During this war between the British and the Spaniards, many of the slaves, Spanish slaves, fought alongside the Spaniards to defeat the British. But the British were very cunning, very strong, and outnumbered the Spaniards. And over time, the British won this war. Some of our foreparents escaped into the hills of Jamaica. The British decided that these escaped slaves had to be brought back and made a lesson of. But little did they know that these slaves were very, very formidable opponents. And many a times the British sent hundreds of troops after these slaves. Well, free people now. Many a times they sent troops after them. Many a times they lost hundreds of people. These are some images from BBC. I'm not sure that they are correct depiction. Now, then came Queen Nanny. It is believed that Queen Nanny, who was born of royal blood from Ashanti, now present-day Ghana, born in the late 1600s, around about 1686, was brought to Jamaica with her Ashanti brothers, namely Kojo, who was also one of the great leaders, Kampong, and Kaw. Right? Now, because Queen Nanny, she's a queen of course, right? She's of royal blood. She was not going to sit back and allow her people to be suppressed or oppressed. So, at a very tender age, she formed an alliance with other slaves. And she was instrumental in getting many of these slaves to escape. But she was always very strategic. So what they did was they decided that for this escape to be successful, they would splinter. Right? So Nanny and Paul, they went up into the Blue Mountains, Portland, which later became Nanny Town, now Moortown, where Mr. Crawford is from. And You had a compound who went to a compound in St. Elizabeth, and Kojo who went to Trelawny. And these are 3 of the 5 maroon towns which still exist in Jamaica. Now, what happened was that Nanny was, in many regards, very similar in terms of her strategic skills, like your samurais in the Edo period. She had mastered the art of using the high ground to get a command view of from her village to see when enemies were approaching. In addition to that, the abeng, our first cell phone, here we go. Right, the abeng, our first cell phone, was used to trick advancing British troops. And as a result of that, yes, the Maroons lost a couple of wars, but the British lost far many times more than we did. Why? Because as Mr. Crawford mentioned earlier, we had mastered the art, probably invented the art of guerrilla warfare. Nanny and the other Maroons were masters of camouflage, concealment, and guerrilla tactics. And these they used to outsmart British. So much so that when the British got their asses kicked all the time, they could do nothing but to say, okay, enough is enough. Because after 20 years of having their men brutally slain, these are trained, well-disciplined soldiers. They were no match for our Maroons. That led to the Maroons becoming fully free people and emancipated. So the peace treaty was signed in 1740 to mark the end. Well, the Maroon War ended in the year earlier, 1739, but the peace treaty, if I'm correct, Mr. Crawford, was signed in 1740. So the Maroons were now independent people, and with that, they were granted 500 acres of land, which is 2.4 square kilometers, and this was their sovereign land. They were self-governed, and also they do not pay taxes to this very day. During her lifetime, Queen Nanny was never a selfish person. She helped to free over 1,000 slaves, probably a lot more. One of our other heroes, Samuel Sharp, who took up the mantle, although he was killed in 1832, his action forced the British to emancipate slaves on August 1st, 1834. But this came with a lot of tricks. Picture here. This is a picture from one of the sculptures in the Jamaica National Emancipation Park. This is to help us as Jamaicans to always reflect on our past and to accept the present as a gift. Injustice continued. The British, their interpretation of this emancipation decree was that only those aged 6 and under, that is the unborn, were emancipated. Those who were adults or above 6 years old were still considered slaves. They had to buy their way out of slavery. Hence, the baton had to be picked up. I'll get to the baton being passed on later. Now, pictured here is Queen Nanny. She's our only heroine, and she was declared one of our 7 national heroes in 1976. So whenever you go to Jamaica and you hold that $500 note in your hand, please remember this woman's contribution to our nation building. Through Nanny's contribution to history, to the history of Jamaica, to the history of our people, Jamaica now boasts many prominent female figures. Not so long ago, Jamaica had its very first female prime minister. She visited Japan, and picture there with her when she was at a reception. This Nanny Project event would not have been a reality had it not been pictured right for the Honorable Olivia Bobbsey Grange. When Mr. McAnuff brought this project to Jamaica and met with Mr. Joseph and all the other people and brought Mr. Crawford on board, she bought into it immediately. So had it not been for her, Mr. Crawford would not be here today. So we have to thank her for, and thank Mr. Crawford for being here. And least we forget, Jamaica has touched the lives of everyone all over the world, and we're proud to have a Jamaican in the name of Kamala Harris, who is now one of the Democratic presidential candidates for the 2020 US election. Jamaica, 500 years, a beacon of hope for the world to see. Jamaica, 500 years and counting since the first slaves set foot on Jamaica, and since the first slaves decided that we were not going to be oppressed, and that we were also going to send our people to other countries to bring about freedom, Jamaica continues to champion that cause. We have given voice to the voiceless and the oppressed. We have done so through diplomacy, through love, through our music, through our art, through our entertainment, and through our sports. And we'll continue to contribute. But Queen Nanny's work is not yet done. So I implore you all today, let's play our part to end slavery, inequality, injustice that is. And let's rise up and shatter the glass ceiling. Let's not sit and watch injustice go on. We must play our part. Let's end modern-day slavery and child trafficking. Let's realize these modified words of Jamaica's national heroes song. And for those of us who know the tune, I cannot sing. When I go to karaoke, everybody has to be drunk before I start singing. Okay? But I'll try with the help of Keith. Okay, so I've modified the words of our national hero song, and it goes, let's go forward, forever united, students, women, workers, and farmers, guided by Granny Nanny, who lighted the flame of freedom to inspire, liberate, and motivate all oppressed to fight against inhumanity, inequality, and injustice. Forward, Japan and Jamaica, forever united. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And in closing, here is the gift, one of the greatest gifts Jamaica has given to the world, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, whose work and contribution continues to inspire nations across the world. Thank you all for not sleeping on me.
1997年、京都で地球温暖化防止京都会議がありました。その時に思いついたアイデアがこれです。人間で考えるよりもいっそのことを動物になって考えた方がいいアイデアが出るんじゃないだろうか。もう大人たちはみんな国境を背負い、自分の利益で会話をする、そんなコミュニケーションの中から本当に本質的ないいアイデアが出るんだろうかと思いました。で、我々は動物であるということをベースにもう一回地球のことを見てみよう。これが思いついたアイデアでした。でも動物になって考えるっていうことがなんでっていうことをずっと言われ続けた20年間でもありました。絵本シリーズを作り、あと2010年には NHK のアニメシリーズを作りました。イメージはこんなイメージです。動物キャラクターになるんですけども、動物になってしまえばもはやそこには国籍がない、あと人種も肌の色もない、あと男も女もない、いわゆるボーダーレスな環境が作れる。で、いっそこういう場を作って未来のことを考えたら面白いんじゃないかなと思いました。で、この動物たちはですね、みんなこう思っています。大人たちに任せて、人間の大人たちに任せていられないと。そういうマインドです。動物たちは国境がありません。ですから動物たちが見えている世界はこういう世界だと思います。ボーダーがない世界。一回僕たち人間は国境のない世界を想定して物事を考えた方がいいんじゃないだろうかと思いました。で、これから、僕たちがどんなアクティビティをやっているかをちょっとプレゼンテーションします。ターゲットは小学生の6年生、10歳から12歳です。で、まだですね、脳みそが柔らかいんで、まだ動物になりきれる、そういう年頃でもあります。これはインドネシアの子供なんですけども、虎になって会議に参加している時の写真です。まずこんなプレゼンテーションを最初に子供たちに見せます。なんで動物になるんだろう。人間 VS 動物。例えば、はい、カラスです。カラス、子供たちどうですか？人間から見るとカラスはこんな存在です。ゴミを散らかしたり、人間と頭をつついたり、嫌なやつだなって考える子供たち多いと思います。でもカラスの立場になったらどうなんだろう。きっとカラスはこう見えてるんだよ。ごちそうだ。僕たちはみんなごちそう好きだよね。カラスはこう見えてるんだよっていう話をします。なのでこれからみんな動物の立場になってこれから環境会議をするから、 君たちもこれから動物に変身しなくちゃいけないよ。で、こんなクエスチョンをやります。まず動物を一つ、好きな動物を一人選んで、例えば犬だったら犬ですね。で、7つの質問があります。性別とか男女とかパーソナリティ、あと家族はいるの？どんな生い立ちを送ってきたの？夢はあるの？で、最後、人間に言いたいことある？こういう質問をしながら動物のキャラクターを作ります。私たちは人間ですから動物にはなりません。なので人間と動物の間、動物キャラクターですになります。ネズミじゃなくてミッキーマウス、猫じゃなくてドラえもんみたいなものですね。今年山口県の宇部でこの動物環境会議をやりました。その時のビデオがありますので約5分間、ご覧ください。この方はちょっと僕の、師匠です。増田先生と言います。後で増田先生のメッセージもます。すいません。
答えじゃないんですよ、あれは。で、全部間違いだと思う。で、それでいいんですね。で、何しろ問題意識を持って考えてみるっていうことがすごく重要で、それでああいう素朴なシンプルな答えしか今見つからないんだけど、それを本当にみんなで考えていくとおかしいことがいっぱい出てくる。それはなぜなんだろうっていうきっかけ作りにはすごくいいんですね。だからそこで大人が知ってる答えを出し出せてしまったら最悪で、もうそうではなくて子供が自分で間違いを出していく、でそれを改めていくっていう、そういうきっかけですよね。今非常にいいんじゃないかな。ただ壁を立ててみんな自分たちのやりするんだなっていう、そんなことした途端にとんでもないのが分かるっていうのは考えてみれば分かるんで、だけどそういうことを一度想定してみないとその間違いが気づかない。大人はだからそれを評価しない、それで後ろに言わずに、あまり褒めすぎもせずに、さらに感じさせるということでしょう。それでもうちゃんとやっていきます。
これはこれから動物たちに会うんで、自分たちの作った動物キャラクターに似せてフェイスペインティングしているところです。男の子が女の子の顔にペイントするとか、人の肌に触れるっていうのはですね、とても勇気がいること、そしてとても子供たちの記憶に残ることですね。都会の子供たちと、地方の子供たちがですね、ここで一気に会うんですけども、もうタッチすることでみんなニコニコ仲良くなります。動物園でですね、動物たちが生態系を学びます。で、動物たちもいつものお客さんと顔が違うんでちょっと興奮気味です。物投げたりかかってきたりする。で、そういう動物たちと向き合いながら生態系、動物たちの生きてる世界を飼育員さんから学びます。特に、 動物たちにとっての家族、食べること、あとどうやって逃げるか、動物たちは逃げたものしか進化できませんでしたから、いかにして逃げるかということを学びます。で、その後今日感じたことをニュースペーパー作ります。一つテーマを選びます。そして人間と動物は共存できるのか、またはできないのか、この人間と動物の間のボーダーについて考えます。この時は中国とインドネシアと台湾と日本の子どもたちが20人、言葉が通じない子どもたちもいます。でも、ボディーランゲージがですね、共通の体験をしているので、言葉で会話ができないんだったら絵で会話をしようと。で、それぞれが子どもたちが感じたことを絵で表現します。そして絵でプレゼンテーションです。全員一人一人が自分のアイディアを大人たちの前でプレゼンテーションします。で、最後インストラクターの人たちから活動証明書をもらって、小学校3年生から6年生の子どもたちが最後記念写真を撮る、ありがとうございます。こういうプレゼンテーションなんですけども、このアクティビティに参加した子どもたちが何を思うのか、これは僕たちもとても驚きました。人間の目線ではあまり気がつかないことを動物目線で考えると気がつくことがあったとかですね。自分たちが予想以上に人間によって動物たちが苦しめられていた。だから動物たちに恩返しがしたいというふうに気持ちがですね、動物の味方になってるんですね。動物の味方になってなんかアイディアを出してみよう。そして彼らたちが気がつくことはこういうことですね。地球は人間だけのものじゃないとか、人間も動物も同じ命じゃないか、この命というものに気づきます。キャラクターを作るときに、動物キャラクターを作るときのストーリー設定でほとんど両親は殺されてるんです。そういうキャラクターを作っている子どもたちがとても多いですね。なのでそれになりきることで命の問題を考えるようになります。これはその時のプレゼンテーションなんですけども、言葉で人間と動物が仲良くって言ってしまうととても抽象的ですよね。なので言葉ではなくて、その子どもたちの脳みその中にどんなシーンが浮かんだのか、動物と人間が共存できるシーンってどういうシーンなの、これはもう言葉ではない、もう国境を越えられるメッセージだと思います。例えばここは動物たちの住処を奪ったのは人間なんだから、人間の住んでるところに動物が来たからといって殺すのはおかしいよね。ここが人間の食べ物を作るんだとしたら、その外に動物たちのためにご飯を作るのも人間の責任だっていう子供もいたり、あと動物園で猿たちは木の実を食べて、オーガニックなものを食べて、でうんちしてするとそこから食べた木の実が芽が出ると。つまり植物も動物たちに食べられるっていうことを想定して関係性が成り立っている。だから猿たちは 食べたらゴミじゃなくて木を生やすのに、人間は食べたらみんなゴミを作っている。むしろ動物たちの方がすごい進んだ生活をしてるんじゃないかということに気づく子どもたちもいました。僕らはこのプロジェクトでは子どもたちに何にも教えません。体験だけして気がつくっていうことを引き出す、こういうプロジェクトです。キャッチコピーはグローイングアップトゥゲダー。こういうベでやったり、これはマレーシアの留学生が問題提起をして動物会議をしたり、これはモンゴルとミャンマーと日本の子どもたちが動物会議をしたり、あとこれはミャンマーで動物会議をしたり、あと日本に来ている留学生たちがインストラクターになって子どもたちとアクティビティをやってくれています。我々は動物であるという立場に立って一回反省しようと。動物たちごめんなさい、その反省に立ったらきっといいアイデアが出る、そういうことに子どもたちから教わりました。今SDGs のSDGs っていう言葉が今にぎわしてますけども、僕らがやっている SDGs はここです。ベースになる気候変動だったり、魚たちや鳥たち、動物たちです。で、僕らも一緒にやっているプロジェクトのミスター増田さんの、ビジョンを皆さんにお伝えして今日最後のメッセージにしたいと思います。彼は SDGs の18番が必要ではないかと言っています。未来の子どもたち、つまり自分さえ良ければいい子どもたち、自分さえ良ければいいと思っているマインドですね。自分の国さえ良ければいいと思っているマインドを持った子どもたちが大人になってそこに未来はあるのか。世界はどこかの私の幸せのために誰かが不幸になっている。さっき人身売買っていう話もありました。どこかの国の豊かさのためにどこかの国が貧乏にさせられている。そしてどこかの人間たちが76億人大繁栄している代償に口を聞けない動物たちや植物は搾取され絶滅の危機に追い込まれているというこの関係性、この関係性に気づいた子どもたちが大人になってイノベーターになる。だから SDGs に足らないのは未来の子どもたちっていうものではないかというのが増田先生の考えです。で、ゴールは、未来の子どもたちと一緒になって考えると、そしてその社会を引き渡しますと、これがゴールで、動物環境会議はそういう子どもたちの未来のための、デザインです。これをつけたいでジャマイカの動物は何ですかってイグアナなのかこれなのかなとかって思ってちょっと調べてきたんですけども、どうですか？
National bird, yes.
本当？
Our national bird.
うちの国の代表的な鳥です。ハミングバードです。はい。
以上です。どうもありがとうございました。
本当に通訳しながらコンフェ先生が感動的です。本当に素晴らしい考え方です。ありがとうございます。
ぜひジャマイカさんと縁を作ってやりたいと思います。
I'd like to create a connection with Jamaica, even a connection with Jamaica in the future.